You're listening to Heather's Do Vegas. Join your go-to duo for all things celebrity gossip, reality TV reviews, fashion tips, and of course, all the inside scoop on Sin City.
Hello and welcome to Heather's Do Vegas. I'm Heather Ashley.
I'm Heather Nicole. Super Bowl time.
Super Bowl. Okay. I was gonna say, is that a football on your chest, or are you just happy to see me? But I guess
No, it's actually not even a good number, I don't think. Yeah.
So cute with the jean shorts. Oh my God. People, you need to get on YouTube and watch us. I'm just saying. Because you're missing out if you're not actually watching
No.
watching us
Right?
and our shenanigans. Oh my gosh. All right, well, let's get into it because we got a lot to talk about.
Yes. So we probably want to talk about the Grammys because we can't, talk about
I've been dying to talk about the Grammys with you. Let's get
it's
into
fashion.
it. Get into
Yeah,
it.
it's fashion season, fashion awards. I mean, I thought that, my girl Taylor looked amazing, and I thought that little leg garter with her tee hanging down was so stinking cute.
Really cute.
She just must have the best team because I would doubt that she even knows how to online shop.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I mean, she can never go wrong with her classic red.
Yeah.
Great color.
I liked both of Miley's looks, but it wasn't like nothing stuck out to me beyond that. How about you?
Well, I got to give it up to our girl Bianca Sensori with her
Right.
her nude look. I mean, whoo,
Mm-hmm.
the balls on that woman.
So I think that you and then two other women text me at the same time. They're like, "What is this look?" Right? And so my first reply is, someone needs to tell her what a red flag is in a guy, because it's
He's one giant red flag. You know, it's a crazy relationship. But the word on the street is that she is on the payroll, and hey, girl, get your coin, and I guess show the cookies and
I mean, she
give
looks
us
so
something
much
to talk
like
about.
him. It's weird.
It's very disturbing. Who I liked was J-Lo. And it got me thinking about J-Lo fashion in general. Other than that one weird green dress, like green and gold dress she wore at one of the awards shows, that
The
woman
Grammys.
she could do no wrong.
Yes. So whenever someone asks me what my fashion icons would be, I always have said
Mhm.
up until now Blake Lively tied with J-Lo, because I think they both know how to walk the line with sexy, and you can tell they're
Mhm.
still wearing, I'm always going to say, it's a lined garment, right? Where they're like so mindful of the placement of the material on their body.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it just probably comes down to tailoring, because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. But
Yeah.
I can't, almost rarely do I find something she doesn't look good in, and her makeup's amazing. I think they all
Yeah.
use the same girl that does a lot of Kardashian's makeup. And
Yeah. I mean, she's just flawless. Flawless. The show itself, I I mean, I'm just enamored by the production of each performer. Every single one of them was just giving me everything I needed. I loved, of course, I would love to actually like be reincarnated into Sabrina Carpenter, even
yeah.
even just for like, you know, for a few moments, because she is so adorable. But every single performance was a production, and it was
Yeah.
such a reflection, I feel, of each artist and their
Mm-hmm.
individuality. And I love that they put on a show. It wasn't just they throw them up on stage with some backup dancers. I mean, it was very individualized. And I mean, I would, instead of going to like a regular concert, I would much rather go to an award show like that.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
gone to one of the American Music Awards or Billboard Awards. I actually won
Hmm.
tickets like on the floor, and it's spectacular. You can't
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
during the broadcast, but it was just one of the most amazing experiences. That's where I saw Pink
Yeah.
and Beyonce at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I want to say, yeah, I went to Billboards too one year. It was
Mm-hmm.
at MGM Grand.
MGM,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was the most fun, because
Yeah, that was, it
you
really
got to
was.
see like all these artists with, and they play, they're playing their best hit, which is,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like what I like to see. I don't want to see, their junk. But all right, well, Grammys was awesome. We had a good time with that. Moving on.
Okay, so we got to talk about the Housewives. I mean, there's been a lot that's happened, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Beverly Hills because, as we see from what I describe it as Kyle unwinding, or really for, across all platforms, including the Blake Lively thing, like what happens behind the scenes. So I think that Kyle has had a lot of say in what goes on the air because it's well known she's one of Andy's favorites, right? So
Okay.
she has that meltdown at the spa, right? And to me that was all deflection. And then the following day she calls for a dinner with a handful of people. And to me it was 100% to get them on her side. It was exactly what
Yeah.
Sutton and Garcelle said, and it was just I don't know how they can make it any more obvious that she gets a good edit.
Yeah. So I feel like I've been validated in my long time secret opinion about Kyle, which is she's going to be that girl that, she's the center of the group, that anyone new coming in, they have to kiss the ring. And she is the mastermind behind, you know, everything and what goes on in a group of friends. And, I listen to a lot of pop culture, experts and podcasts, and everyone has the same opinion that she's like the Lisa Vanderpump. And like that's why the two of them imploded, because they're one and the same people. And,
I heard Lisa's coming back.
I heard a little bit of rumor about that, but I don't really think people want that. Like, I'd like her as a friend of, but
Mm.
I don't feel she needs to be a full-time person anymore. But, because I don't know, I feel like we've seen her from all angles. But at any rate, back to Kyle, she's um, I think she's come full circle, and she just
Mm-hmm.
she needs a break. She needs a
Yeah.
break. She needs a reboot. She needs like a little makeover, give her a little vacation, and and then maybe come back.
Well, I mean, you always gravitate towards that person that she seemed like she was really fun. And then when she started, on her sober journey, it definitely seems like she's not. She lost the ability to be easygoing, but that's just the way she seems.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And it's really hard watching those scenes with her and Mauricio. And it just, I hate using that word trigger, but it's triggering to see, a woman who wants so much for that relationship to work out and to be back. Or I don't know, maybe it's acting, but either way,
Yeah.
it's just, it's a really an interesting window into what's going on with her. And, it's sad. And, I just kind of feel like, you know, get yourself together, take a little break, go on vacation, come back. I would like to see a Kyle where she's not pining after Mauricio, and we're seeing her like dating, hitting the town, whooping it up, Gun Wilson style. That's what I'd like to see. Kyle,
Okay.
if you're listening, that's what the girls want.
You put that on your Christmas list. I don't think
Right.
that's a lot of changes. Yep. All right, we got to talk
Yeah.
about RHONY for a minute.
All right, RHONY, hit it.
RHONY has ended, and we saw the tumultuous, result of what the entire secret was and how dark they went on that path. And having now watched both episodes of the reunion, I gotta say that while I understand where the women are coming from, it's just such a heavy topic. It's like the topic itself got lost in translation. And instead of giving her a pass, they just really ganged up on her. And I can't imagine how her last 6 months or however long it's been since they filmed. I thought it was nice the way she tried to make amends, and maybe she's lied too many times for them to forgive her, but it just gave me such a bad taste in my mouth that I don't know. I'm telling you, they're not going to record that season for another season for at least a year.
Yeah, yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head. They just had it up to here with her. You know, she's just, her lying, manipulation, her, producing, and um, just all her antics. I think they just had enough with her, and it hit a boiling point, and and like I didn't feel sorry for her at all. It was
Oh, see, I did.
exhausting watching the reunion and all of her crying. And I just didn't feel bad because
Oh, see, I
she
do.
acts horrible
Yeah.
through all these episodes, and really trying to manipulate everybody. She had, like they said, you had it coming. She had it coming.
I mean, I don't know. I think I've said this to you before. I think she's immature and
Hmm.
she'll grow out of that because I would say most women talk about other women when they, leave the room until you learn not to do that, right? And most people learn that in high school. But
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see.
We shall see. In the meantime, though, I can't wait for the new Denise Richards show.
I've only seen a snip of that. I just think that's so interesting that they want to put her back on TV.
I think so too. I think one of the clinchers is the daughters. And then I'm actually super excited to see Charlie Sheen dipping in and out. That's like,
Tiger's blood.
I, I cannot wait to see this man. And I'm sure
I don't think he'll be on camera.
no, he's going to be in there. He's involved.
Oh,
He needs a paycheck.
I mean, I really can't say whether or not I think her husband is like on the scale of being crazy, but he's hot. I'll give
Yeah,
him that.
he's an interesting guy. He always, I had a good impression of him from The Housewives.
Okay.
You know, Um, and she always talked about his package. So, maybe so imagine that, ladies.
Right. All right, let's touch base on Southern Charms while we're here. I thought the last two episodes, it was so interesting the way they kind of carried through the Austin and Craig situation, right? Especially because it ties into a podcast. We're doing a podcast, right? When I can see where they're both coming from.
Mhm.
I thought the dinner when they sat down with Shep was so interesting because Austin immediately recognized that Craig brought him for backup, and then Shep turned on him and took Austin's side.
Yeah.
So my guess is when they are not filming that they'd never see Craig or hear from Craig. Now, with that
Mhm.
being said, I thought his appearance on Watch What Happens Live was just so honest. He's pretty much saying that they're taking the time not to say anything in the press about the breakup, and he didn't want to break up with her and she broke up with him. So now
Yeah.
that all ties back to him not being on the same level as Austin. I don't know,
Mhm.
tell me what you think.
Yeah. All right. So this bromance, yeah, I'm heartbroken that they're all fighting. I think for sure, Craig just really wanted to move in the direction of being with Paige, and that put a damper in the whole, little love triangle with them. I think now that they're broken up, he's going to naturally maybe make amends with them a little bit.
You'd have to.
I mean, I feel like I see all sides of the story. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't seem like anything that, they can't fix. It's not that terrible. I mean,
Well,
it's
they
classic.
they opened a bar together, so they have fixed something since then,
Mhm.
and they kind of touched base on the fact that now what they're seeing each other say is upsetting them again.
Yeah. I think it'll fix itself. And hopefully, you know what I want Craig to stay, in Charleston. I could almost see him like uprooting himself and moving to New York for
Well,
some random reason.
he said he was going to, and that
Yeah.
Andy knew he was going to move to New York. He was
Mhm.
actually going to move.
Mhm.
He bought a ring. He had a ring.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, who knows? Maybe they'll get back together,
But
or not.
it does look like people online are really giving Paige a hard time.
Yeah. Well, he put himself out there so badly for her. But I will say one thing: I do not like our Craigie looking so disheveled. With he needs to clean that act up and
I don't give a shit.
get it.
I don't care what length his hair is.
I need a clean cut Craig. That's what I need.
I think he would be totally different to date when you're dating him, but nonetheless, he's still a perfect 10 in my eyes.
Oh, Craigie. Oh my gosh.
You could see our post with him on my Instagram at Heather Weather. I'm just Heather Weather Instagram. Instagram got mad for some of the music, so they took some of the pictures out of the carousel, but we're still front and center with him. Him and Corey. Corey was just as hot.
Oh yeah.
The third guy was so hot. I forget his name right now that we both were like,
oh, I know. Oh my gosh, so funny. So you're watching Southern Hospitality. I'm like a little bit up on that. So tell me what you're thinking about that show.
Okay, so I just, I will note that there was, so when I was there, I just walked into every single restaurant trying to figure out what I was going to eat. So now I've seen them eating at some of the restaurants I've been at. So to me, it's like so interesting to see it after, having walked in all those places like Republic. So I wanted to reference the fact that how the people appear on the show was not how people were in Charleston when I was there. People in Charleston are not talkative. They're friendly, but they are not talkative. I in Vegas, you could go to a bar and you could sit there and the people next to you talk to you, the bartender talks to you. In Charleston, you were just sitting there eating your meal by yourself. And it was like that all the way across the board. So they're super friendly, not talkative. And that was kind of like how it lends itself to it being more produced than you think, because the reason I watched The Bachelor is to read the body language.
Yeah.
And so to know the disconnect of how the whole community was, and then see how they act on the show, it's different.
Which is really interesting because you're going to places that are sort of like tourist attractions.
Yeah.
And so not only the people that work there, the people that are visiting there, it's tourist, your interaction is sort of like a given. Like you want to be friendly and chit-chatty. So that's really interesting. And, I think you're right about, Vegas. It's like people come here and they're having a good time and, they're wanting to talk and interact. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate to hear that about that whole thing. But I mean, you're liking the show. Did you see them? I think I saw the last episode where Maddie had a,
yeah, that was so cool. We should have went to that.
She DJ'd at Resorts World.
If we would have known they were all going to be there, oh my gosh.
I know.
But I did think it was interesting on the second episode back where Joe jumped in the pool and hit his face.
Ay.
So if you want me to explain that story, you'll have to comment below, because that definitely made me think that there was probably a concussion involved in our own story, because it was identical. The marks were identical.
Okay.
That was that. Yeah. Well, that we will happily share that story if anyone requests it, but you gotta like and subscribe to hear that one.
Yeah, that's a paid subscription.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, so funny. Although that kind of does lend itself to one of our topics.
Yes.
All right. Well, I mean, perfect timing. I don't know if you want to share that. You want to elaborate on that?
Okay, so this brought me to another thing, because so we go out, and the next time I see her, I'm always like, this is my confession, my drunk confession for this episode. When I come home, I take things off and put them in such weird spots that it's like I don't understand what I was thinking, why I put something here and something there. So inevitably I'm having to search for it. I found myself when I came home the other day, I actually turned the lights out and turned the flashlight on my phone trying to find it, because I was like, where did I set my rings? I mean, when we came home the other day, my jean jacket was laying on the floor in front of the door, just like I had walked in and dropped it. And then the two shoes were right in front of it. So, I mean, I can't be the only one that does that.
I'm sure. If I were to share my habits like that, I'm generally pretty good. Like, I don't put things what I'm more impressed with myself is, if it's been one of those nights, and the next day, I actually see that, like, I hung up my clothes. My shoes are where they're supposed to be. I'm like, okay, girl, you did good. I'm like, congratulations. Like, that's, I
I
give
would feel
myself
the
a
same way.
gold star.
Given my track record, I'm always like, that is so weird why I would put the dress on the kitchen counter. That makes no sense to me. But the shoes are over there. The purse is like on the stairs. It's like, this makes no sense to me.
All over the place.
No sense.
Yeah.
Entertaining nonetheless.
And things could be worse. Things could be worse.
Well, I mean, it is worse when I lose something.
Yeah, no, that's not fun. Not fun at all. But yeah, we'll share more fun after night out antics. So we did have a really fun time. Was it last weekend? We went to Swingers, crazy mini golf over at Mandalay Bay, and they recently opened. We finally got a chance to get over there, and we had a great time. I think we could both agree that we were a little suspect going, because you book online, which is fine. You book your tee time, you pay for it in advance. But then, you can add your drinks, you can add food, and then they want you to pay gratuity before you get there, which I never experienced that before. And, we have to book a lot of Vegas things. For example, like with the pools, if you want to do a day bed, or a cabana,
that's a good example.
You book it in advance, and 9 times out of 10, or maybe half and half, they want a deposit, or they do a hold on your card, but never are they asking for a gratuity in advance. So, again, coming from Vegas experts, that was a little, I wasn't too happy about that. And I was a little irked, but
it should, in my mind, that should be built into the price of the drinks, right? Already, because the drinks are, not cheap anymore. And then I also thought it was, weird that it was cheaper at the door for Vegas locals, which no one tells you anywhere.
Okay, yes. And you know what? I left the tab open on my iPad. I went back to the tab to look at the site, because I couldn't find it earlier. And they do explain that there is a locals discount, but you have to show up, and if they have room, you do get a locals discount. So do you roll the dice, and if you go during prime time?
Not during the weekend.
So, don't do that to people. Like, don't do locals dirty like that.
Yeah, I know.
Give us a discount. What's the discount? Like $5, $10? And
no, I thought it was $20.
Okay.
So it's $15.
But, treat them, like everyone else. You get to book your time, and, we'll show up. So,
yeah. So a round of golf was $35, you guys, and there were 3 courses that were 9 holes each. So when you see the pictures, and you can see the pictures that we can post, it looks like it's one giant golf course. It's not. It took about 20 minutes for us to golf, maybe 30 minutes. But with that being said, we were having a blast golfing. They do let you drink on the course, and then they had carnival games, which her and I had the most fun playing the carnival games, because I'm a skee ball dominator, and turns out she won the mini golf and the basketball, and we were just having a blast playing those games. So
yeah,
we had a blast. I think we all had a blast, but we thought it was expensive. So
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
Once we were there and we were in it, it was a very good time. It's a really cute, very whimsical looking
Hmm.
place. They have a DJ that was playing. I would say I'm glad we did not just eat there because that would have, I just, it seems so awkward the way the restaurant sort of placed in the middle.
Yeah.
And then the DJ booth was right in the back and the music was so loud. It would have been a really terrible experience, I think. But
They built
yeah.
swingers in the place that was Rum Jungle that later became Light.
Mhm.
So they must have kept some pieces of how that was set up so they didn't have to do a total rebuild.
Yeah. Yeah. It's vertical. Very,
Hmm.
they made,
It's small inside. It
mhm,
looks like it's huge. It's not.
yeah, right. It used to be a club. So, but they made the
Yeah.
best use out of it. It was a good time. People were really nice. We had a fun time. So,
Yeah, we
I
did.
think we had more fun because we had a group. I don't think it would be as fun with just two people.
Yeah,
Um, but yes,
that's true.
I think if you have a group, it's a little more fun. Um, well, so it's Super Bowl, and it
Yes.
is upon us.
Yes. So last but not least, we have to
Mhm.
talk about my favorite game that we're going to play here in just a minute. We
Okay.
should probably make it to halftime, but I've been playing this game for at least 5 or 10 years. So you basically watch the Super Bowl, and when the commercial comes on, because the commercials are so elaborate, you guess the product. You just yell out what you think the product is, right? And then you get a point for whoever guesses what it is. And because
Okay.
sometimes they lend themselves to something that has nothing to do with it, and it's
Mhm.
for AT&T.
Right, right. Yeah. That is a
So
fun
we
game.
we have a really fun time to play that, because then you get to the second, with the halftime show, and I'm like, I'm over it now, right? But
Yeah.
I definitely like being, on Monday being, did you see the commercial with so and so? Because I'm always looking for that commercial that pops up that's so cute
Yeah.
that really hits on Monday morning. But I think they've leaked a bunch of them already. I've seen some with Tom and Gronk.
Hmm.
I know Ben Affleck's gonna have another Donuts one.
Yeah.
So they're
I'm
really getting
excited
their
to see
play out of it.
I'm excited to see the reboot of Harry and Sally
And that we
at the
leaked
deli.
already, right?
Yeah. Well,
All entirely, it's
they're
entirely.
actively promoting them. I mean, they're
Yeah.
doing interviews and so it should be fun. Are you rooting for the Chiefs or the Eagles? Do you have skin in the
Um,
game?
no. I
Mhm.
mean, I have sometimes support the Eagles. This year, I'm definitely not supporting the Eagles at all. So I'm going to be forced to, support the Chiefs again. And we saw them play here in Vegas, and
Okay, true.
they
All
were
right.
definitely right in front of us, and
Well,
we had a blast at that game. I mean, so I'm gonna
yeah,
have to go Chiefs. That's why I ended up with this cute little red sequin number on.
yeah, yeah. I'm leaning toward that myself. And
But I am covered.
I think they're favorited. So, I
Well, I
mean,
don't know what the
yeah,
spread was, but it was 1 point or 3 points the other day, so I'm covered. Look.
all right. Either way. Okay, but wait, do you think that Travis is going to propose to Taylor on the field?
So if he did, that would be the smartest course of action for keeping that not something that they then have to figure out how they're going to keep it a secret.
Right. But then there's speculation that they are secretly engaged anyway.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I
I
mean,
think,
I hope he does.
yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah,
That would be very
I hope he
fun.
does. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, very interesting. Well, we're excited. We're going to a little Super Bowl party. And of
Yes, we're
course,
going to do a chili cook-off.
Vegas is chili cook-off. Vegas is all abuzz right now. Super Bowl weekend is one of the biggest weekends in Vegas,
Yes.
because of the sports books and et cetera. So this town is definitely, it's buzzing around and
Hmm.
um, yeah, so we're excited about that. Um, we'll see. Do we place like a little bet on who's gonna win?
I mean, I think we both kind of we'd have to root against each other, but we could guess on the score.
Okay. All right. So, I don't want to take the Eagles.
Right. We can. It's the score. So,
Just the
I'm going to
score.
say, like, I'll give
Okay.
you an example because, like,
Okay.
so I'll say, I'll take the Chiefs at 21 and I'll put the Eagles at 20 at the
Okay.
end of the game.
Okay. So then I'll say the Eagles are going to lose and they're going to score under 20.
Okay.
So
All
then
right. Let's see what happens.
whatever you get, then that you
Yeah.
would win. Okay. Until then, hey, remember, we are on YouTube. You can see our fabulous, sparkly outfits, and all of our other episodes, and Instagram, TikTok. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review us.
Like, subscribe us, give us a comment. We want to hear what you think. We want to hear if you're doing anything we are.
Yeah. But until then, don't do anything.
Don't do anything we
We
wouldn't
wouldn't do. Bye.